Hello students, Ms. Slyman here with your video on vector subtraction. Vector subtraction is really similar to vector addition, but it starts with this idea that negative a has the exact same length as a, but then points in the opposite direction. So really, to make a negative vector, we take the head and the tail and make them switch places. So here's my new head, here's my new tail. So remember that subtracting is the same as adding a negative, and so that's what we do with vectors. We just add the negative. So first we create the negative vector, and then we move it to the head of the previous vector. So let's look at that. So here's vectors a and b. I want to find a minus b. Well, here's a, so at the end of a, I'm going to draw negative b. Negative b is going to have the exact same length as b. In fact, it's going to look very similar to b, except the head is going to point on the opposite side. And it looks like mine needed to tilt just a little bit. So let's do that. That seems better. All right, so there's negative b. I'm going to label it negative b. And then my result is to start at the tail of a and end at the head of negative b. And there's my resulting vector. That's the subtraction of a minus b. And that's because I took a and I added negative b to it. Okay? Let's do some more. So now I want to find u plus v and u minus v. Well, I'm going to start by drawing both of them over again. So here's u. I'm going to make it look the same. U. And now I want to do negative v. So negative v is actually going to point coming down this way. So I needed to move my u over some. Let's do that. My u, all right. Negative v is going to come same length, opposite direction. So that's not just v, it's negative v. And so here is the result of that subtraction, u minus v. Right, if I'm going to do u plus v, then at the head of u, I would have drawn v going normal way. There's positive v. And so this vector is u plus v. Notice how the subtraction and the addition look very different from each other, and that should be the case. Addition and subtraction are opposite operations. But notice that my addition vector and my subtraction vector aren't pointing in opposite directions. They're pointing in very different directions. Okay, let's do another one. So I'm going to have my u follow the same. If I'm going to do u minus v, I'm going to go the opposite direction of v. So that's negative v. The resultant of those two is the subtraction. That's u minus v. Always my vectors should have arrows on them to show their vectors. Coming the opposite direction is going to be positive v. So tail of u to head of positive v is u plus v. Let's think about subtraction with a shape. So DC minus BC. Let's look at that. DC looks like this. BC would look like this, but I want to subtract it, so negative BC actually comes this way. So negative BC is actually the same as CB. So starting at the tail, going to the new head, that's vector DB. AC minus BC, do this one in blue. Here's AC. Here's BC, but negative BC is this way. So coming that way is negative BC. And my results start at the beginning, finish at the end, and I get AB. Okay, DB minus AB. Let's do this one in purple. DB, whoa, that's a very not straight line. Let's try that again. DB, and then AB is this way, minus AB comes this way. My resultant is DA. Notice that what I just said is that minus AB, well, here's AB, negative AB points this way. That's the same as BA. So DB plus negative AB, well, negative AB was the same as BA. So we can rewrite that by switching the letters around. And that resulted in DA. So we started at D. Once we added and had the same vertices there, we ended with A. Something to think about. AC, minus DC. Here's DC. Negative direction goes this way. That's CD. Resulting vector starts at A, ends at D. And there's all our vectors. I see that I forgot my arrow on top of my blue one, always with the arrows to show that we're talking about vectors. And that's vector subtraction.